Hi there, and welcome back to the channel. I'm going to cover something incredibly important, something that covers every homeowner, buyer, and seller at some point: the home appraisal. What does an appraiser actually do? How do they come up with their home's value? And what improvements actually matter to them when evaluating a property? So if you're ever wondering how they arrive at a number that can literally make or break your deal, stick around. We're going to spend the next few minutes breaking this down in full detail, from the role of the appraiser to the methods they use to determine value and real improvements that move the needle on the appraisal. You'll want to take notes because this video can end up saving or making you thousands of dollars. If this is the first time on the channel and you want to know everything there is about living in Northern Kentucky and the surrounding area, then subscribe below and tap the bell for notifications so you can be the first to learn about the current market in Northern Kentucky. My name is Carrie and Empero. I get calls and emails every single day from people like you, and you looking to make their move in Northern Kentucky. So whether you're moving in 9 or 90 days, just give me a call, shoot me a text, or send me an email. Happy to help you make a smooth move to Northern Kentucky. Let's start by talking about what an appraiser actually is. A real estate appraiser is a licensed independent professional who is trained to estimate the fair market value of the property. Their job is to be completely impartial. They are not working for the buyer or the seller, and they're most often hired by the lender to protect their interest in the transaction. But the appraiser also plays a critical role for buyers, sellers, and even homeowners looking to refinance or understand their property's equity. Now, it's important to clear up a common misconception. An appraiser is not a home inspector. They don't go crawling through crawl spaces or checking electrical panels unless there's something that needs noting. They're not checking for code compliance, and they're not there to give renovation advice. And they're not real estate agents either. They don't set listing prices or help negotiate sales. Their role is to provide a credible, evidence-based opinion of a home's current value based on data, condition, and the market. Appraisers are licensed by the state, and they go through extensive education and training. We're talking hundreds of hours, followed by a multi-year apprenticeship under a certified appraiser. They also have to follow strict ethical guidelines known as USPAP, which stands for Uniform Standard of Professional Appraisal Practice. These standards require appraisers to stay objective, avoid conflicts of interest, and document every aspect of their evaluation. So let's walk through what actually happens during the appraisal process. It usually starts when the appraiser is ordered by the buyer's lender through seller or owner's refinancing. Their mortgage can also request one. Once assigned, the appraiser begins by pulling data about the property. They'll check public tax records, past listings on the MLS, and recent sales in the neighborhood. They begin researching comparable homes, which we'll talk about shortly, and get a feel for the property before they even step foot on site. Then comes the on-site visit. The part of the process usually takes about 30 minutes to an hour, depending on the size and the condition of the property. The appraiser will walk around the exterior of the home, noting the roof, the siding, the windows, the driveway, and any outbuildings. Then they'll head inside and do a full walkthrough, taking measurements, counting rooms, noting flooring types, looking at kitchen and bathroom finishes, and paying close attention to the home's overall condition. They're not judging cleanliness, but they do take condition seriously. So if they see deferred maintenance like peeling paint, stains, old HVAC systems, or leaky faucets, they'll take note of it. If they see recent upgrades like a kitchen remodel, a new roof, or fresh flooring, that matters too. They'll take a lot of photos, often over 100, to document the property for their final report. After the visit, the appraiser returns to their office and starts crunching the numbers. This is where they use one or more of the 3 primary evaluation methods. The most common is the sales comparison approach. That's where they look at other recent sold properties nearby that are similar in size, layout, age, and condition. And then they adjust those sale prices to reflect the difference between the properties. For example, if your home has a finished basement, but the comparable sale didn't, they'll adjust the value upward for that difference. Or if the comp had a 3-car garage and yours only has a 2, they'll adjust downward. There's also the cost approach, which estimates what it would cost to rebuild a home today, accounting for depreciation and land value. This is more commonly used for newer homes, custom homes, or unique properties that don't have many comps. And for rental properties or income-generating properties, the appraiser may use the income approach, which looks at how much rent the property could generate and calculates value based on return on investment. Once the appraiser finalizes their method and adjusts, they write a comprehensive report. This document is often 25 to 30 pages long and includes a detailed description of the property, the photos, the neighborhood, data, comparable properties, adjustment explanations, and finally, the appraiser's professional opinion of market value. Now let's go deeper into what factors actually influence the appraised value of a home. The biggest factor, as you probably heard before, is the location. Appraisers consider proximity to good schools, jobs, transportation, shopping, parks, and overall desirability of the neighborhood. They also factor in safety, traffic, noise levels, and how similar surrounding homes are. A beautifully renovated home surrounded by dilapidated properties won't appraise as high as you might think. Next is square footage, and this can be surprisingly tricky. Only above-grade finished areas count fully toward value. That means a finished basement, while definitely adding value, doesn't carry as much weight per square foot as a finished space above ground. Appraisers also assess how well the home is laid out. Open concept homes often appeal more than ones with chopped up rooms or long, awkward hallways. Condition and maintenance plays a huge role. Appraisers will note if the home is clean, well kept, and updated. Worn carpets, faded paint, and broken fixtures might not seem like a big deal to you, but they can lower the condition rating, and that directly affects the final value. On the flip side, if the home has been well maintained, newer systems, and is move-in ready, it can justify a higher price even without major remodeling. Then, of course, there are the actual updates and renovations, but not all updates are created equal. Appraisers will assign more value to improvements that are common in the area and consistent with the price range. So if you put a $100,000 kitchen into a $250,000 house in a modest neighborhood, you're unlikely to get that money back in appraised value. But if you made smart, moderate updates that match the neighborhood, those can add real value. Appraisers also consider build quality, things like hardwood floors versus laminate, granite or quartz countertops versus laminate, wood windows versus vinyl. They factor in roofing materials, quality of trim work, and overall construction standards. All of these items tell the story of the home's quality. Market conditions are another big piece of the puzzle. If it is a hot seller's market and prices are rising quickly, appraisers have to work with very recent sales, usually within the past 3 to 6 months, to reflect those increases. If it's a declining market, they may use older sales and make downward adjustments. Now let's talk about what actually adds the most value in the eyes of an appraiser. Let's start with kitchens and bathrooms. Those are the rooms that buyers pay the most attention to, and appraisers know that. A minor to a mid-range kitchen remodel, a new countertop, updated cabinets, modern appliances, and fresh lighting can add significant value. You don't need to go over the top, just clean, modern, and functional. Bathrooms are similar. Updating a tired bathroom with a new vanity, tile, fixtures, and paint can go a long way. And adding a bathroom, especially if your home only has one, is one of the highest returns on investments you can make. Finished basements or bonus spaces add usable square footage and appeal. They don't count the same as above-ground living space, but they still help increase overall marketability and value. Just make sure it's permitted and finished to code. Major system upgrades like HVAC, electrical panels, water heaters, and roofing carry value because they improve the home's functional condition. If a buyer sees they won't have to replace a $10,000 HVAC system for 15 years, that peace of mind translates into value. Appraisers also consider energy efficiency improvements. Things like a double pane windows, attic insulation, and energy-efficient appliances may not be flashy, but they're valuable, especially if they bring the home in line with current standards. Garages, particularly attached two-car garages, carry significant value in many areas. Outdoor features like patios, decks, covered porches add appeal, especially if they create usable space. And of course, good curb appeal makes an impression. Neat landscaping, fresh paint, and well-maintained exterior sets the tone before the appraiser even walks through the door. On the flip side, there are things homeowners often believe add value, but don't. Over-personalized upgrades, exotic tile, art colors, very high-end finishes, and modest homes. These rarely add dollar for dollar value. Swimming pools, especially in colder climates, may not help much at all. And features like home theaters or wine cellars only carry weight if they're common in the area. To wrap this up, I want to leave you with a few final thoughts. Appraisers play a critical role in the real estate process. They are not trying to tank your deal, and they are not there to side with buyers or sellers. Their job is to ensure the value makes sense for the lender and that everyone in the transaction is protected from overpaying or underpricing a home. If you're a seller, it's helpful to leave a list of upgrades for the appraiser, especially if you've done recent work they might not notice. If you're a buyer, understand that appraisers are just one piece of the puzzle, and sometimes the market is moving faster than the data can catch up. The more you understand how value is determined, the better prepared you'll be, whether you're listing your home, making upgrades, or buying your next one. Thanks so much for spending this time with me, and I hope this deep dive helped clarify what appraisers do and how they evaluate your home. Be sure to subscribe for more content on all things real estate, and leave your questions or thoughts down in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. I'll see you in the next video.